The fall equinox is just around the corner. Ever wonder how it came to be, or why people get excited about it? Equinox comes from the Latin words equi, which means equal, and nox, or night. On every equinox, day and night are of nearly equal length across our planet. As the Earth orbits the Sun, it is tilted at a fixed angle. For half the year, the North Pole is tilted slightly toward the Sun, bringing longer days to the Northern Hemisphere. And while the South Pole is tilted slightly away from the Sun, this brings fewer hours of sunlight to the Southern Hemisphere. It all has to do with the way our Earth is tilted in position with the Sun. In the Northern Hemisphere, the September equinox marks the first day of fall. The opposite is true in the Southern Hemisphere because the September equinox signals the first day of spring. Ancient cultures didn't have any clocks to calculate minutes of day and night, but they could measure the sun's position geometrically. People observed that the sun's rising and setting points moved slightly each day of the year. The 2 days of the year when the sun rose exactly due east and set exactly due west marked the equinoxes. Archaeologists believe a number of prehistoric sites were used by ancient peoples to track the position of the sun and predict both equinoxes and solstices. Some of these sites include Stonehenge, Newgrange in the UK, and the Majorville Medicine Wheel in Alberta, Canada. To the ancient Greeks, the September equinox marks the return of the goddess Persephone to the darkness of the underworld, where she is reunited with her husband Hades. The full moon that falls closest to the autumnal equinox is sometimes called the harvest moon. The Chinese began celebrating the fall harvest at the harvest moon several centuries ago, during the Shang dynasty. Ancient Chinese celebrated the successful harvest of rice and wheat and made offerings to the moon. Ethnic Chinese and Vietnamese people still celebrate the harvest moon or Mid-Autumn Festival. During the Mid-Autumn Festival, lanterns will adorn streets and family and friends gather to give their thanks, share food, and watch the moon. Round pastries, called mooncakes, are often enjoyed at this time. Hagen is a holiday celebrated by some Japanese Buddhists. It takes place twice a year during the fall and spring equinoxes. During Hagen, Japanese Buddhists will return to their hometowns to pay respects to their ancestors. Hagan means from the other shore of the Sanzu River. In Buddhist tradition, crossing the mythical Sanzu River meant passing into the afterlife. The people of the British Isles have given thanks at fall harvest festivals since pagan times. Harvest festivals traditionally were held on the Sunday nearest the harvest moon. Early English settlers took the harvest festival tradition with them to America. These tradition festivals, once celebrated around the equinox, formed the basis of American Thanksgiving, which we now celebrate in November. During the French Revolution, the French government designed and implemented a new yearly calendar based on astrology. Each new year would start at midnight on the day of the autumnal equinox. In the revolutionary attempt to rid the calendar of religious or royalist influence, each month was named after a natural element. The French followed this calendar from 1793 until Napoleon Bonaparte abolished it in 1806. Modern pagans celebrate a feast called Mabon on the autumnal equinox. This harvest festival is a time to celebrate the gifts of the earth. Northern lights starts to spark up during the autumn equinox. In the far north, the autumnal equinox signals peak viewing of the aurora borealis, or northern lights. The celestial display of brilliantly colored lights happens when charged particles from the sun strike atoms in Earth's atmosphere, causing them to light up. These light displays peak around the fall and spring, or vernal equinox. That's because disturbances in Earth's atmosphere, known as geomagnetic storms, are strongest at these times.